Welcome back to the 2014 Summer Promotion Tournament. Let's keep the action rolling with Game 2 between Complexity Black and Team Coast. And Complexity Black getting a huge boost of confidence with that late win to carry them into this match. I want to break to talk about a couple of players here. First up is Complexity Black's Prolly.
What?
Complexity Black's Prolly.
I thought you said Obama. Holy crap.
Oriana. There you go.
Okay.
It was on Oriana last game. What are your feelings, huh?
So, Prolly's Ori was pretty good. He was doing really well in the early first 5 minutes, even without Brokenshard's help. So, I think I noticed that they both used all their potions, him and Shifter, and he was up like 10 CS or something like that, and he was up in HP advantage. And then that's when the gank came in from Brokenshard and then kind of sealed the deal and allowed Ori to be, just kind of free farm forever and, be ahead. So I think Prolly played really well that game, and so I don't think he needs a champion change or anything like that. So. And
his counterpart up in the top lane, Westrice.
Westrice. He kind of got beat up a little bit. I think he definitely needs to call for help, especially rotating the bot lane after they win. And if Zion's going to split like that and you can't take him, you just send your bot lane up there, and then they can pressure him in that way. So Westrice needs to drop a little bit of ego down and at least let his team rotate into the lane to be able to push Zion back.
Know when to tap out, I guess is what we're saying.
Yes.
Okay. Meanwhile, on the other team here, we do have Team Coast. We're going to start off with ZionSpartan up in the top lane. Speaking of which, the Lucian definitely got out of control.
So Zion historically always just kind of either smashes top lane or kind of gets smashed, I think, in the top lane. But for the most part, I always see him for whatever reason, he's always at their inhibitor, and he's just punching it and killing it, while the enemy top laner is trying to beat him up, and then all of a sudden 3 people come out of nowhere, and then Zion ends up 1v3ing or something half the time. So I think he played phenomenally well this game, and hopefully that carries through. But the one problem about Zion is sometimes he kind of gets carried away of split pushing too much, and sometimes I feel like he should just group instead of trying to 1v5 the whole team, because he kind of has that splitting mentality too much. And the more he plays as a team, then the more likely they're going to win, and the less likely they're going to throw.
Speaking of the rest of the team, our last player to watch is going to be Shiftur. Do you think that Team Coast, they need to get these two solo laners together more often and stop split pushing? It's been their go-to strategy for so long.
If Zion's winning super hard and Baron isn't up, they need a group, and then there'll be a stronger force. But for Shiftur really needs help getting vision control middle, whether it be Daydreamin coming up or Nintendude coming to ward for him. Otherwise, he's just on an island by himself, as you saw last game, where he got ganked, and then after that, no one else came middle to help him out. So he had to fend for himself.
All right, well, thank guys. We are going to send it back over to Freakin' Chat for the call of the game.
Thank you very much, Kobe. Let's call ourselves a game. So, while most Challenger players are fighting for a shot at the North American LCS stage, one player, Complexity Black, is fighting to make his return.
Everyone in this day and age has grown up playing video games. So playing video games is just a part of everyone's life, and it's a pretty nice job just being able to wake up and play video games all day. So be crazy not to want this kind of thing.
The thing about Prolly is that, as a player, he's very, very skilled in his role.
He's a really good mid laner. He will always go even, if not win his lane. And providing that pressure is what gives us an edge over a lot of teams.
Last year I was on an amateur team performing top 2 in the amateur scene at the time. I got picked up by Complexity to play mid lane for them. So I got to move to California, and it's been 2 or 3 months out here, which is really nice. Come relegations, we were 8th place. Unfortunately, we had to play Quantic, so they knocked us out pretty decisively. And the team ended up sticking around in the amateur scene, and I actually got kicked from that team. I was actually contacted by what is now Complexity Black. I ended up trying out for the team, and they told me within a week, oh, if you want the spot, you got it. So I was like...
Outside of game, Prolly's a really goofy guy. He likes to joke around a lot.
He used to play in a funk bass band. I've never seen him play, but generally from what I've heard, funk bass is one of the more complicated musical things to learn.
Music is just the best way to kind of end the day. Every time you just start playing or creating something that's your own, it just feels really good to kind of play something like that.
In a game, he's solid. He's like consistent. He's, I want to say, like a little bit cold when it comes to like he develops more of captain role.
I really like Prolly's communication, and I'd say that's one of his strongest points. Is he's always striving to improve.
He will call you out on mistakes that you make, and he expects that you do the same to him.
In order to survive in our team, you have to be able to take criticism well.
I think that's a super important part of our growth as a team coming into this tournament.
This is our chance to get into the LCS, and for me, this is my chance to get back into the LCS. So this is kind of months and months of work, being able to actually show what we've done.
He definitely is putting in just as much effort as anyone else, if not more, and he wants to be back in the LCS.
The last few qualifiers, I was a lot more shaky and a lot more nervous, and now I'm kind of at the point where it's like, you know, like I gotta just be in my own element. Like I've got to do my own thing. I can't have any emotions right now because that's gonna throw me off of what I do normally. My team wants this, and you know, could kind of topple this challenge, and I'm pretty excited to be able to play this team, and I think we're gonna be able to finally get back into the LCS this way.
Well, probably seemed pretty much like straightforward to that one, right?
Focused and confident, and his play reflected it in game 1.
Yeah,
especially on Orianna, hitting 6 items, hitting that shockwave to take out Shiptur, and then they pushed down and won the game.
Yeah, just close it out. Go for it. Yeah, and the fact that, you know, they got the call, and then the first thing I kind of heard after that was like, go mid, go mid, go mid. Mm-hmm. It's like they immediately realized like split push was gone, go for the push. And, like they let Renekton like hold the waves and he like teleported in late. It just all went perfect.
It is still ridiculous that they won that first game and are now up 1-0 into the series. If momentum is really a thing here, Complexity Black has all of it.
See what they can do with this one now. Complexity Black on the blue side. They got their sheets of paper out there. They know the picks and bans. They know what's going on. They're going to make their choices here. LeBlanc removed away from Shifter. Not surprised at all.
Yeah.
Don't let that guy get a playmaker who can win the lane. Soraka still removed from Prolly. We'll see if any of the other ones stay through. It's going to be... I can cheat. Actually, no. It's Nidalee, Jax still getting away from Team Coast.
They're coming up here real fast.
Yeah.
The nice thing is Soraka's going to be banned probably this whole time, as we've seen. It's definitely banned away from Prolly. Shifter showed that he is willing to play the supportive mid laners, even though he wasn't that successful on it. It's always interesting in these best of 5s how the pick and ban evolves throughout the series. You get to see who teams really value as the highest priority, and nothing much changing here.
Well, Complexity Black ordered another pick. I saw Westrice type in the letters of the champion. He's not hovering it yet. It's on his screen as the only champion he can pick right now. And they're just discussing to make sure they actually want that champion to be picked up right there. Ziggs
Much
is available.
better not to hover.
Exactly. You don't want to give away the tips. Ziggs. You type in GG.
Well, you get Ziggs. That's Prolly's favorite thing to do. Looks a little bit crazy like Ziggs right now.
A little bit frazzled. Grin ear to ear. Wants to blow people up. Makes a lot of sense there. ZionSpartan, they're going to lock in for the team, giving Lucian over again to WizFujiiN, but they did ban Corki this time. So they'll push ROBERTxLEE down, maybe to Caitlyn, maybe Twitch. We'll see what he wants to go for. Elise for Nintendude. That is a steal from Brokenshard, but also a champion that Nintendude likes to play a whole bunch.
Brokenshard plays a lot of Lee Sin as well, and it would serve multiple purposes if he were to take it away here, because they stopped the split push that destroyed them last game, as well as put Brokenshard on a comfortable early game champion. It's got to be it.
Yeah, it's a great choice. Like taking that very smart one. Karma's still going through for Bubbadub though. They'll wait some time to grab their other AD carry choice here. And you know, I agree with what the analyst just said about Coast bottom lane, saying that they played very scared. They're very passive. They let Complexity Black win the lane for free.
So strange.
Lucian's a good laner.
He had that 15 kill game randomly within the season. He's amazing in solo queue. And then he gets on the stage and he just decides to play scared. It's very unfortunate. I want to see him take aggression. Because Zion does. It would work great.
They still go for the same team composition though.
Heavier
Morgana.
disengage this time even.
A little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, still the Morgana. The Lulu's still there. It's just the fact that they have Elise instead of Evelyn, and then they got to get a new top laner. Jax is banned. Aurelia, I guess we've seen that one earlier, but it went Lee Sin's way every time, though it's probably jungle Lee Sin. Though we don't know for sure. Westrice can play the champion.
But especially with the Corki ban, this pick and ban becomes a little bit more interesting. Caitlyn would be a nice laning choice there for ROBERTxLEE. He's not really the Twitch type, especially with how much disengage Coast has here.
Yeah.
Complexity Black's probably just going to like to win with some map movements and positioning here. Mundo as well.
I feel like Aurelia would actually work pretty well in this situation, where she's not going to get pushed out of lane. It's that type of champion for Zion. Rise, another one in his pool.
Rise would be pretty big too. Rise does tend to get run down a little bit by Mundo. Or is it the return of the Mundo versus Shyvana matchup? It may well be.
We're back to the beginning of the season, guys.
Back. We went through a whole best of 5. Mundo, Shyvana, Renekton, not seen. Now we got all 3 of them in the first bit. Next game, Trundle. But really, this time for Coast ZionSpartan, not as big a split push threat, more of a teamfight monster with the Lulu and the Black Shield. He could really become a monster in team fights.
Yes.
If he gets there. And I think that's going to be more of a focus here for Coast, making sure that they are stronger as a cohesive 5-man unit than they were last game.
Right. And if they can play that style, if they can put that together, that's exactly, I feel like, the change they should make. Analyst has talked about the fact that, hey, Zion should join team fights once in a while.
Yeah.
Baron's off the map, just show up and do a 5v5.
Shyvana.
And he'd say, okay, Shyvana wins lane against Mundo early on, join team fights with Lulu, go win some 5v5s. See if that equation works out for these guys. As the team load onto the Rift, it's time to share your thoughts on who you think is going to win and take the win. Sure. Tweet us at LOL Esports. Use the hashtag CLBWin for Complexity Black. Or if you're picking Coast, tweet hashtag CSTWin. We'll be checking in on the vote periodically throughout the game.
Yeah, Coast with a lot of pressure on him right now. Remember, though, they went to all 5 games in the spring promotion tournament, only to have a 6th place finish in the spring split of the LCS and fall back into the promotion tournament once again. So difficult times for these guys, losing a nail-biter in game 1, a game where they were in control for a good 20 minutes but could not close. This time they bring the Shyvana, they bring a true tank with the Lulu in the mid lane, which didn't necessarily work out, and I think they just hope to execute better down the stretch.
Yeah, I want to see like how well they do with the 5v5s, because they've only really gotten that success with the split pushing style and managed to close it out. So if they can make the team fights work, then they look like a much stronger team just from one game, saying, oh, we have a new tool in our arsenal. Complexity Black, though, on blue. We've got the Mundo up the top lane. Not teleport heal. We see that sometimes, but TP flash. 3 summoner heals, though. Probably Robert and Bubbadub. 2 heals for Coast in their bottom lane. Shifter still wants to win the 1v1 by running Ignite. And I want to know, like, is it just the lack of wards that made him lose game 1? Was something off for him? Is he warmed up now? Shifter normally wins his lane, though. I
know. It was just a strange performance. Shifter had a stare into his monitor after the game before this one. He's trying to focus as best he can. Probably's not someone he's had the chance of scrimming against too much or playing against, because he's really been in and around the LCS here. Lulu again. Shifter did come into his own in team fights. He played pretty well on Lulu, but nowhere near the level of Prolly. And now Prolly is on his most comfortable champion in Ziggs, again with the heal versus Shifter's Ignite. So not much changing. Shifter's hoping for a different result, though.
See if we can find it. Coast, an interesting start to this game. They're predicting the 2-on-2 lane.
Zion even does a lot of this in solo queue, where he will just wait down in the bottom lane, try and get his lane advantage, then just go top anyway.
And there's a ward in the right spot for Coast. They'll see the late invade from Complexity Black. And they could pinch this potentially. Probably going to go back out through the jungle.
Ooh.
Nintendo gets spotted, and Complexity Black say, okay, well, that entire plan has been shot.
So they lose a lot of control there of the brush. They lose, I think, a little bit of surprise since you know Zion's down there anyway. So going back to base, they're not going to try the brush cheese. Again, though, we get to see standard lanes.
We do.
This time...
That goal, I'm excited.
Yeah.
Woo! Woo, woo, woo! We've got an Elise!
All right. This time, though, we get to see... I guess it would be Complexity Black... Or it would more be Coast wanting to 2v2.
Yeah, red team typically initiates the swap. Pretty much the same lane matchup. Actually, arguably a more difficult matchup. Caitlyn replacing Corki here. We'll see if Coast can play a little bit more aggressively and keep the lane going well. Brokenshard actually wants to stab Nintendude at the red buff. He's already got a ward on it.
Q over the wall. The Q over early instead of waiting.
Nintendude doesn't know.
How fast could he get this one down?
Smite's available on both sides.
He's going to see that the buff hasn't refreshed, and he knows where he is.
All right, there's the fight. Who gets the damage here in this one? The Q from Brokenshard, gigantic, and he gets the first blood of the jungle invade. Brokenshard starting it out early.
Hey, Brokenshard, that's why he picks Lucian. He likes to make early plays, and Brokenshard is the type of player who gets a little bit hyped after one of these kills, so the momentum carries. They make a big win at the end of game 1. They risk a big play at the start of game 2, and it works.
He was actually out of his seat when we switched to the player cam there. I don't know if you guys noticed that.
Is that against the rules?
He's looking out to see the reaction of the crowd after that kill.
Damn.
Brokenshard now gets his own blue buff, and he owns all 4 buffs of the map now. They don't even stack. He wanted them anyway.
He gets them, though. Huge. Especially since Nintendude is the type of jungler who's not very good at coming back. Once he falls behind, he defers even harder to his solo lanes.
Yeah. And the camp in top lane wasn't even cleared yet. ZionSpartan actually down on his lane as well, getting a big push into his turret. We'll see how many he can reclaim. Bottom lane again going Complexity Black's favor. Mid lane also going the way of Prolly.
Yeah.
Every single person down the line is winning.
And they have no fear of Elise because Brokenshard killed it.
Yep.
So there's no spider ganking their lane. He goes back and buys 2 long swords. He wants to kill him again. Basically with that build. Doesn't go with Spirit Stone right away. Wonder what kind of lane pressure he can put on now, because the lanes are pressuring on their own. But with assistance from Lee Sin, how much can they do?
We'll see. Right now, Brokenshard just getting the farm. 12 minions on him. To be fair, 16 on Elise, so Nintendude is farming the jungle as rapidly as possible. There's a ward for Brokenshard, though. Does he hop the wall?
Well, he has a ward, as you said, in his inventory. But there is a flash. He might want to burn. Misses the Q. Does hop, though. If he hops before that Q, they get a kill.
Yeah.
But they still burn the flash. So I would say it's a moderate success.
Yes, and there's even a trinket ward just in case, just to watch some stuff. Daydreamin and WizFujiiN losing so much health this lane.
This Coast bottom lane cannot handle Bubbadub and ROBERTxLEE. I'm surprised they're consistently opting into these 2v2s. Maybe because Zion feels like he can take Westrice, and they want to just opt into that matchup. It almost worked for them last game. But this game, the bottom lane is hurting, and Westrice is holding his own.
Wow, so complete outplays right here by Complexity Black down the line. 800 gold lead. First Blood's only worth 600, so you know it's even more than that. Actually, it was a 400 gold First Blood. It was unassisted, so...
Really early.
Yeah,
as well.
400 to 500 gold in minions right now for CLB. These guys looking great in Game 2. And I want to see what they do next. This is the team with the momentum. They've got to be feeling better about the game. They've shown better performances. I just want to see what happens.
Probably always has the same look on his face. He feels like a mid lane. It's like the sideways smile. I thought it was because they weren't doing well last game, but he's got the same smile when they're doing well.
Yeah.
It's hard to read. Brokenshard again, knowing the flash is down. If they can get a satchel backwards, even though Prolly doesn't have mana, it would secure. Nintendude's trying for the counter gank.
Shiptur interesting, hugging the bottom side. Cocoon lands on a Prolly. Big damage. Glitterlance does hit. Prolly pops Summoner Heal, and here comes Brokenshard. Shiptur has 0 mana. Nintendude taking a big chunk of damage. Can't get anywhere. Prolly claims the kill. Zion shows up. Prolly still has flash, though. Dragon Form does nothing. Now Zion is overextended. Does have flash, though.
They go.
Takes a Q. There's the jump on in. The knockup from Lulu keeps Zion safe for now. Flash is down. CST get out.
Both mid laners hit level 6 during the course of that fight, but Prolly did it first, and that got them the kill. That is now 2 kills to 0. Teleports were traded, and more power to Complexity right now. Again, Prolly is winning the lane. This time, Brokenshard did kill Nintendude and then counter ganks him to kill him again. Big plays for CLB.
And Bubbadub with the early Frostfang, landing even more harass as well, so everything's still going these guys' way. 1,300 gold lead now. The mid lane pressure completely worked out. Nintendude down a level in the jungle matchup. But the buffs respawning soon should help him catch up at least a little bit. We're seeing Robert push under the turret. Big stun there. Gonna keep him safe a little bit though with Fusion firing back. Vamped through on both AD carries, same with Frostfang.
Yeah, Bubbadub whiffed his empowered Q, and it meant that Coast could go aggressive. It will give them a small window to counter-aggress in this lane. And it's going to actually be kind of hard for Complexity Black to push this back out off their turret without some jungler intervention. So maybe a sliver of hope for Coast. Nice binding again, but no follow on WizFujiiN there. He should have followed. They need to have aggression when it matters. They're playing scared, like they're expecting Lee Sin to be there.
Yeah, it seemed like WizFujiiN wasn't like prepared to go in. He was on the wrong side of the lane to land a Q. So he wasn't even able to. They're not even positioned in order to fight when it does happen. Brokenshard 6 going again to look at the red buff. Walks through a pink ward though, he'll clear that pretty easy. There we go.
Long season.
Yep.
And now the question becomes, can Nintendude even take his own red? Does he risk looking for a Lee Sin? Now, at this point, Brokenshard has so much fear and skill. Gotta follow though.
There we go. Big damage comes through WizFujiiN, not yet level 6, whereas Robert is. He's 2 minutes away. He'll get it next wave. And that could have been a culling.
Bubbadub's got to be careful though. Those bindings keep hitting.
Coast AD carry though out of potions. Daydreamin's only got 1 left. Brokenshard's gonna grab his own blue buff. He realizes that the enemy red was cleared slowly, so he's got some time. Blue's gonna go to Prowly here.
Probably trying to power past Shifter. He's playing out of his mind.
Yeah.
Either that or Shifter is having a very bad series. Shifter...
Both, I think.
It might be a combination of the two, you know? Shifter's CS fairly low, but that's because Prowly puts a lot of harassment down, and there's been a lot of ganks from Brokenshard in this game.
True.
A lot of mid-lane presence, just scaring Shifter back and making him second-guess his decisions. Normally such an instinctive player.
Shifter forced to back off of this one.
You know, Brokenshard actually not even going for the red at this point. He might be playing a bit of a mind game. Interesting to see if Nintendude, how much time he spends around that buff looking for stuff. Another binding lands though.
Big double shot, but they just flash in, they go for Bubbadub. ROBERTxLEE is not gonna break the tether. This will be a stun onto the CLB AD carry, but here comes Lee Sin. Daydreamin, he's gonna take some damage. There's the ult, the Q lands. Brokenshard finds the damage and takes the kill.
And just like that, as soon as Coast actually felt safe to do something, they weren't safe because Brokenshard opted not to steal red and instead pressure bottom exactly when it mattered. Another play works out for Complexity. They get the kill and their first turret of the game.
Well, but Westrice a little bit aggressive here. Nintendude has the red buff. He's gonna flash, but I don't know why. ZionSpartan takes the kill, burns his ulti for it, but who cares? And now can Coast capitalize off that kill.
Well, he was trying to be cute there, trying to farm between the turrets, and this might be over-aggressive for Complexity right here. They're really low. They would have to bail immediately after taking this Dragon because everyone on Coast is coming.
And here's Shifter going for some bit of harass. Bubbadub very, very low. Ignite is on. That is Dragon taken, but it's a 1 kill. Going over to Coast.
Not the smartest of calls from Complexity there. And they're found out by Zion. Brokenshard's got to keep running.
Yeah, the slow should be enough. Looks like they can escape. No follow-up there.
That delay is really key, though. It means at least 1 turret in the mid lane for Coast as they push up with their AD carry. Call the wave.
Go. Oh, but the Ziggs is going to stop that. They've got to wait for the next waves coming right now. Only Ziggs in range to stop. Yeah, they might still get this one. So the extended trade is +1 kill for Coast, -1 Dragon.
And a turret.
Well, they trade the turrets, though. Bottom lane turret went down, unless it died a while ago.
The bottom lane turret, I believe, died after the Brokenshard gank.
Okay.
But it's not an entirely transferable trade. This is still big advantage for Complexity Black, really. Mundo has survived very much so early against ZionSpartan. If we remember back to the 3 big top laners with Renekton, Shyvana, Mundo, Mundo was very good against Shyvana. He was the one you picked, and then you would pick Renekton against Mundo to try and kill Mundo. Otherwise, Mundo could get to late game stronger than Shyvana in most situations. Not hard counters, but soft, and that's exactly what's happening here.
CS lead and better late game scaling. Zion is going for the Ruin King build. He's going to have that double % health damage there on auto attacks. See if that can be enough for him to break through the Mundo regen. Right now he doesn't have it. Robert takes a binding, takes a glitter lance as well. Pretty easy to hit those.
Daydreamin is landing a lot of dark bindings this game. It is a matter of how they can follow them up though, because they're running very much a poke-based composition with strong disengage right now, and they'd only initiate when they get to Shyvana. The bindings aren't really able to be followed up on as of yet.
We'll see if at some point Coast can turn more aggressive. Unfortunately, they don't really have a ton of long-range burst. It's like Lulu can do some.
Yeah.
Lucian can try to follow up, but it's not right away. It's not like a LeBlanc.
Exactly. They land a binding, and then the guy walks away after he is no longer bound.
Yeah, he gets shielded from Karma, and it's not that big a deal. Blue buff goes over to Prolly, though. Looks like Complexity Black now owning the jungle.
Westrice keeps wanting to do this. It got him killed last time. I do not know why he is trying to farm in between ZionSpartan's turret, because it is just putting him in danger again and again.
Well, Zion wants the battle. Westrice does not have flash. He's going to land a couple of cleavers, but Zion has Dragon Form once again. Goes for the battle, takes him by himself.
Just foolish play by Westrice right there. That's really all there is to it. He needs to get himself off tilt. He struggled against Zion in the first game, and that's the second time he's died trying to farm between Zion's turret. He doesn't need to do that in order to farm. He can trade farm just fine with Zion. Instead, he just gave up a 1v1 kill.
That might be the edge that Coast needs to get back into the game. Last game, it was Zion, and even though Coast was behind early, the fact that Zion was big was enough to get them back in the matchup.
Yeah.
He kept creating opportunities. I wonder if this game is destined to repeat itself.
It's a funny story. No ultimate, no teleport on Westrice, and Zion has 2 levels on him right now. That's why Nintendo is waiting in the wings. They're just trying to recreate what gave them a lead in the first game. Pink ward in that brush.
Setting up his camp right there.
Anyway, here it comes.
Westrice has no way out. Lands a cocoon. Big damage comes through. Ulti popped as well. No more CC from the Coast lineup, though, and he gets away with the ulti.
His ult just came back off cooldown. Very fortunate for Mundo there. And Complexity is going to try and counter with a push mid, knowing the Elise jungle presence just showed top.
And ROBERTxLEE with the Bloodthirster dealing great damage. His turret's 2 shots from dead. Coast doing what they can to clear it, but it's going to be going down. There it is. Mid lane turret falls. CLB, bigger lead.
But still not a massive one because of the presence of ZionSpartan in this top lane. Brokenshard trying to do stuff up here, but this is looking more and more like game 1 as of now. The Mundo does not have the capability of dealing with ZionSpartan at this moment. I think the scaling will be a little bit better than it was in game 1. If we look at the team composition and the Mundo versus Shyvana here, we're going to try and get this turret down and not let the lane completely slide in Zion's favor.
Well, Coast have 2 guys coming to back this up. It will be a 3v3 shortly. Mid lane is also following suit, but it's not going to be enough in time. Looks like this turret will be falling. Yes, it will. Daydreamin is going to look for a binding. Won't hit it.
Whoa.
Gets jumped on. Brokenshard explodes him. And here comes ZionSpartan for the engage, though. 3v3. Both mid laners about to join. Making it a 4v4. Brokenshard getting slowed down. Jumps back away. Westrice ulti keeps him safe again. And now here's Prolly.
And there is still a Caitlyn pushing the mid lane. It's actually Complexity Black trying to chase down a man, pretty much.
Nintendo goes back in, gets the wild growth, jumps down towards Bubbadub.
Oh.
Satchel charge back in. Gets healed up, has to flash away. Now Shiptur is the guy in the back.
That
second turret about to fall.
That was Complexity Black flexing their muscles in this game because they did not even have Robert for that fight, and they still came out on top. Robert throws through a few shots over the wall as well after all is said and done, and he's opened up a near 50 CS advantage over WizFujiiN.
Absolutely massive. The guy's sitting on about 1,000 gold right here, compared to WizFujiiN sitting at about 300. So you've got a very much more fed AD carry. Red buff now stolen by Prolly. Complexity Black continue to own the jungle. This game is, I don't want to say slowly controlled, they're just not getting kills, but it's being controlled by Complexity Black.
It really is. Outside of the top lane missteps, it would be a near flawless game for them. This dragon is pretty important though. Coast charging up on it. Getting that means a pretty substantial gold swing unless Brokenshard could pull off another play. It's gonna be a steal!
He gets it and gets right back out.
Brokenshard is playing out of his mind. The smoothness with which he got away after that steal, Ward jumping to the wall and then flashing, leaving almost no chance for them to shut him down, really shows his proficiency on Lucian. That was sweet.
An early spite from Nintendude. I mean, he died at level 2 this game. He's had a couple of ganks almost work. And now he's lost 2 to 3 smites in a row now against Brokenshard.
Just check this one out, obviously. And then he kicked Nintendude as well. Just to be like, get away, I stole your dragon. It's almost just to add insult to injury at that point. technically it also blocks the stun. Because you can't stun him while in flight.
No cocoon. Nintendude level 9 right here. Close to 10. He's not too many levels behind Brokenshard, but not having the same level of control over the jungle. Westrice still a level down on Zion, just barely.
Even gold, because his team has been so far up in objectives, though. And his CS has still been holding strong for Westrice. Now you look at the mid lane as well, the gold is 1,200 in the favor. Another buff steal by Brokenshard right at that point. It wasn't as much as steal, he had a smite to secure it, but it just goes to show you the control they have throughout the map.
ROBERTxLEE takes the binding, but it doesn't even matter. He's going to lifesteal off of 1 minion and get back to full HP. High cooldown build for Daydreamin. Rushed actually Ionian Boots of Lucidity off of the Sight Stone there, so 15 CDR on items.
He's landing great bindings, but the team composition is not set up so that it really matters. The bindings are for peel, he's landing them where they would be aggressive moves, and it's just not helping.
Dash into WizFujiiN, though, losing most of his health bar. For incidental poke as the team leaves. Coast cannot find their way in.
That was actually a teleport burn by Zion, attempting to initiate that one, which gives some free time to Westrice. He actually takes it to do double golems, but the rest of Complexity Black is still holding incredibly strong.
Here we go, tier 2 to under fire with 4. Teleport advantage to Westrice. CLB could make it a 5v4, Nintendude losing more health here. The poke so strong from CLB.
The Ziggs Caitlyn is just a tower wrecking crew as far as Complexity Black is concerned, and they still have very strong disengage. This is a much better 4-man squad than they had last game as far as seeding turrets. Oh man.
You can feel the heat
Yeah.
from Shyvana, but heat doesn't stop recalls. It has to be actual fire, not just warm air. CLB are going to take turret number 2 down to the bottom lane, making that one 4-1. Starting to crack that second shell right here. Westrice still holding on to this matchup. Turret's barely losing damage. Going to see Zion get a couple attacks in, but
Yeah,
how long can he even stay?
Well, he's doing his thing where he tries to ignore the other top laner and do turret damage. Gets about a third of a turret, so not terrible.
It's going to take some time for this match to get any better. Zion, big cleaver, has no MR, so those cleavers hurt a lot. Just trying to still run away. He's bought some health, but again, doesn't help against the cleavers. I'm seeing Westrice have a great time in this matchup.
This game has been so smooth for Complexity Black so far. They really, outside of Westrice's misgivings up in the top lane, in between the turrets for a while, everything else has been great. Brokenshard has made a ton of plays. Prawley has maintained an advantage over Shifter. The bottom lane decimated Coasts. And their teamwork just feels superior at the moment. I still think they need to continue to press, though. Brokenshard getting 3 of the kills is the best distribution of gold if we consider late game and combat effectiveness, but that's exactly what they're doing. They know what they have to do.
Well, fighting against Westrice in turret range. Karma Shield makes it barely matter here. He's going to regen back up this turret down to about 1/3. Daydreamin takes poke. Shifter dodging away, but burned a potion to keep himself safe.
Coast is trying to flank right here. It's one of the only ways they could get a clean initiation is if Zion can get around behind them. He is walking through a ward. Let's see how Complexity Black responds.
He's going to go for the fight. The big ulti and kicked back away by Elise. No engage for Coast. Nintendude very low. Bomb hits!
He wants it.
Westrice gonna go. He doesn't go away. Robert, oh my God, Nintendude's still running. The Q, is it gonna be enough?
He lives.
Oh my God.
That was an LCS big play if I've ever seen one as far as escaping from NintendudeX right there. Not the best introduction to it, but as far as after he repelled, that was ridiculous. And they did lose the turret, so another slight loss for them. But a lot of skill shots should have killed them there.
Yeah, outskilled.
Oh, well. Just run away in a straight line, no one will hit you. Nice kickback there by Zion. They tried to do the nice Shyvana ultimate combination, and then watch this. So the bouncing bomb hits, and the cleaver barely gets through. But at this point, Westrice thinks he can flash on top and kill him with his W. The Ziggs ult hits the fraction of a second before Nintendo becomes targetable when he comes back down.
Yeah.
Good.
And he then flashes the wall to get away from Mundo. Jukes the cleaver, makes his way out. All right. Well, Coast, though, they are down 7K.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, they still lost the turret,
down 7,000.
to be fair.
That is a bad thing. And again, a death cap for Prawley. And a blasting wand for Shifter. Yes, Shifter's sitting on 900 gold, but he is just so far behind the pace and gold from Prawley. If you're Coast and you're preparing for this game, the one thing they've been able to rely on the entire year is that Shifter will win.
Yeah.
He'll win his lane and he'll be a presence. They can't rely on that anymore. So what do they really go back to? ZionSpartan is winning. That's something they hadn't been able to rely on. It happened every now and then.
And their game plan from game one hasn't really pulled through either, right? The camps top lane haven't turned into many more kills. Westrice, 2 deaths, okay, but no turrets have gone down. It's just Zion having like, well, I got some gold. But he's playing a team fighter more than a split pusher.
Yes, his Shyvana has always been able to get a little bit ahead, but it has never had huge impacts in games for Coast throughout the regular season. One of the reasons they were the 6th seed in the record standings at the end of the season and why they lost both their sets in the playoffs is just this inconsistency. But even with that, the game 1 they basically should have won, and game 2 they are getting outplayed.
Well, let's see what we can find.
A Coast that can't rely on Shifter.
Yeah.
Doesn't really seem like Coast. It's just a team that is completely lost.
Well, they're certainly losing game 2 right here. They've got one more chance that they can't make it through on this one. Bottom lane turret now under fire. Top lane still a 2nd tier turret if Complexity Black wants it. That's not their focus. Shifter still waiting to get some real items. ZionSpartan can't carry this game by himself. Looking again for a flank though. But all the same disengage tools are available.
Yeah, exactly. They're going to try the flank, but even if they get it, do they win the fight? They're going to be walking into a Ziggs ult and a Mundo with level 13 and a bunch of items. If you're Complexity Black, you almost let Zion initiate on you, so you get the fight. Draw Coast out of their base and take the turret afterwards.
See if they can find it right now. There's really nothing going on for the Coast squad. They're just sitting under the turret. They're just waiting around. Zion actually hasn't found the flank just yet.
Yeah.
Just sitting in a random brush saying, okay, when do we want to go for this one?
The resources on Complexity Black will wear down a little bit. There's a little bit low mana on Robert. What's going to bind him?
Robert.
But where's the follow at that point? Zion is behind them right now. He goes in.
He goes in, but no
ahead.
one's there. They get the lockup from Lulu on 2, but it doesn't even matter.
Yeah, there's the Ziggs ult, nearly killing WizFujiiN, and now do they just take the turret on the rebound? They drew Coast out. Zion went in before it was ready. They eat another binding with no follow-up, and they get another turret. Great play by Complexity Black.
All right, and Hip Turret is dead, and CLB back right out, rewarded for their efforts with 175 global gold.
Oh, no.
Gets hit up. He's got to be careful. Caitlyn comes in. Repels in time.
That sneaky little spider. So hard to kill at that point. NintendudeX avoiding death as best he can. Still died twice this game, and they lose yet another turret.
So 3-0-1 for Brokenshard, 100% kill participation. There's like an assist on 2 other people, so most of his kills are solo. And it's otherwise just been the fact that Complexity Black are sieging, and Coast won't pick a fight that they can win. It's low kills because no one's dying, but every single time CLB builds the advantage, pushes it through for the objective, and it's just low health bars as opposed to champion deaths.
And if we think back to our last series between EG and Cloud9 Tempest, a lot of the games actually did end up being fairly one-sided once a team got going. And it can just be with the gravity of these games and how important they are. Getting the LCS spot makes teams more risk-averse for the most part. And through just savvy, Complexity Black isn't playing risk-averse. Sometimes to their detriment. Westrice is between turrets sometimes when he shouldn't be. But Brokenshard going in for steals. Complexity Black, even in game 1, everyone flashing forward for kills. Here, making a bunch of early game plays. ROBERTxLEE netting into a Shyvana. All these things obviously has a huge lead right now.
Sure.
But it's just an example of how aggressive they're being versus how passive Coast is.
Look at that, Coast again, forced to flash away. Top lane turret goes down. WizFujiiN does get something for the team though. That's the 2nd turret of the match, or sorry, of the game for Coast. Baron gets aggroed, Westrice does not care. They'll regen that back, no problem. But it's now 7,500 gold. That number is growing. Complexity Black still finding more minions, more turrets to kill. Dragon's a minute and a half away. Baron is not even the setup. CLB aren't playing the Baron bait game, they're playing the will eventually siege you down game.
They're just going to keep sieging, you're right. They already took down one Nexus turret, or sorry, inhibitor turret. It's an open inhibitor. They can go back and get it. And they plan on it.
And the comp, of course, so well suited for doing that. The binding's hit, but there's no follow-up again for Coast. WizFujiiN gets some damage down, but again, nothing permanent here.
Yeah. Still no death cap on Shifter. When you consider we're 28 minutes into the game, that's just not like him. Being so far behind LCS. The binding does trigger a nice calling. Zion wanted to come around and flank, but he's shut down. This just gives Westrice time on the other side to slowly get all of the outer turrets down. He's free to go and do what he wants. You know, they're not. I don't think they're going to go fully for that inhibitor until Westrice is at least in position. He stole the red and is now just kind of playing with Zion. Now that they know where Zion is and that they're not getting immediately flanked, they might push up.
Well, Cocoon's not going to hit right there. Robert playing well to get away from this one. Now a lot of the CC is down. The minions just keep getting cleared.
And it's funny how Corki was banned in this game because Robert farmed so well and laned so well with it last game.
Yeah.
But the Caitlyn's actually better this game than Corki would have been with how much of a siege game it's turned into.
True.
They won the lanes already, and because they took such an early jungle advantage, it just became the siege matchup. Caitlyn is far superior at turret and inhibitor killing when compared to Corki.
And I think back to also what Coast tried to get when they allowed the first pick Ziggs to go to Complexity Black, and it's like, they got Elise and Lucian, which they were happy to give away in the first place. Elise then went to Brokenshard. The Karma Sport still came through. ZionSpartan gets hit up by a trap and can't go forward.
And Nintendude has been counter jungling from minute 2 at this point. The inhibitor goes down for Complexity Black. Nice moves.
Okay, well, here we go. Nothing else really important grabbed for Coast. It's just the hard-fought, slowly earned objectives for Complexity Black. They have more turret kills than champion kills because Coast can't get in.
No. Dragon up again. They're just going to continue to keep this objective game going. Wow, this could... I was obviously pretty surprised in the last game as we get an unfortunate pause here. It seemed like... It really seemed like Complexity Black was going to fall in that first game.
Yeah.
And to win a game in the manner that they did puts such a weird twist on the series. Like, if what we're seeing now was game 1, right? And Complexity Black were to kind of dominate Coast, you would still think as a Coast fan, just kind of like, or even as a Coast player, all right, they got us that time. They either out-strategized you or they beat you in picks and bans, and you can adapt and win next time. But to lose a game the way Coast did in game 1 and play like you won it, you had the better team composition.
Yeah.
You executed better the entire time. And then it's actually Complexity Black who gets to adapt to it, as well as still having the first victory.
True.
They stole a game, in a sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which means when it's 2-0, in Coast's mind, it's like, it should be 1-1. We shouldn't have to win 2 or 3 more games. We should have to win 1 more game, you know?
Yeah, because you saw a strat that worked, then the kind of key components got stolen or banned away, right? It's like, well, you don't get the top lane Lisa and split pusher. So, and the funny thing is, like, I feel like Coast can use some of that as knowledge. Like, I think you can still learn from victories. Like, they lost the game, but they were winning the whole thing, and say, yeah. I mean, Coast always had a hard time closing out games. We talked about it during the game. Of course, the analyst talks about it all the time. Coast are winning up until they lose. It is wrong for them, right? But it's like, okay, they got to change strats, though. They got to learn to say, look, we do have a hard time closing out games.
Exactly.
Let's play a team fighter. But that's not working out because there's no fight to be had.
And the split push pressure wasn't working. Just so you guys know, this is not a tech issue. This was just a quick little health issue for one of the players. We should be getting back into the game very shortly. You can see the crowd applauding a little bit because, you know, this is Complexity Black trying to make their move, stealing game 1, stealing victory from the jaws of defeat, one would say. And if they win this one, they would need 1 win in their next 3 to make it in the LCS. And obviously, they can't talk during pauses, but Wiz is really down on himself, it feels like. I've never seen him sit that low. He's incredibly slouchy. He's very quiet. He's lost lane pretty hard both of these games. He's just not in a playmaking mindset. He's kind of hoping someone else is going to come and bail him out.
But right now, that's not Shifter. And it's
definitely not Shifter.
Team fighter with no damage to back him up.
Yeah.
He's the only guy doing well is the 2-0-0 ZionSpartan, who hasn't found his way into the fight. He's been kicked out. He's been netted away from by a Caitlyn. Ziggs traps come out. Mundo's too tanky to kill in the 1v1. I actually really like the fact that Mundo's in here. Because he pretty much doesn't get removed from lane. Like, hey, he died because he played too aggressively from Westrice, right?
Yeah.
But it's like, well, there's another objective remove. Like, probably just winning lane straight up. The dual lane's winning lane straight up. Give Westrice something unkillable, and it's like, well, now where even is the opening for Coast? And I know you talked about in the pregame, like, well, why not go for a 2-on-1 because the 2v2 isn't working? And I agree with you there.
It's because they want Zion to get going, right? If they do the 2v1s, it neutralizes Zion's advantage against Westrice and makes it all about Shifter, I feel like.
Well, the weird thing about even that, though, is like Zion in each game is down by level 3. Like, the first 8 waves have gone to Westrice each time. Like, straight up they have. And that's kind of the point at which you stop being in the 2v1s, is you break down to like the long lanes.
Yeah.
At that point, you can put Zion with some solo farm and let him do his thing, right? It's actually been Nintendude bailing him out each time.
Yeah.
To be fair, I feel like all these things point to me saying, Coast, you should probably just 2v1 in game 3.
It really seems like Coast should. Even though games 1 and 2 most likely going to Complexity Black, the Baron is becoming the next objective of the day, with the inhibitor down on one side. A Void Staff, a full Void Staff for Prawley over Shifter on Ziggs means Ziggs is just going to destroy anybody he hits with his bombs.
There's almost no MR at all from the Coast lineup. It's a Cowl and a Negatron Cloak.
Yeah.
And like the standard Athens from Shifter, but whatever.
Look at the item differential on everyone.
Yeah.
80 carries. 3 full items and a BF sword where the Trinity isn't even completed on Fusion yet. Brokenshard again forces the repel.
Daydreamin backs off with the Black Shield. No major summoners burned, or sorry, no major cooldowns burned from Coast on that one.
I think they just want to siege mid lane. I mean,
yeah.
There's a certain level of risk, and they have not been averse to it when they need to be. They don't need to be risky right now.
So when do they show up in the mid lane right now? They do have pink ward coverage over Baron, to be fair. They can continue to kind of create opportunities in this one. However, Coast are running double orbs right now. They've got 2 blue trinkets. Scrying orbs. Yep.
Did you know in the 73-minute game we had between NIP and Millennium, I think there were 6 scrying orbs in the game by the end of it. The most I've ever seen that item bought. It's something you should do when you're heavily turtling, is to just get those scrying orbs in there, because the ward control is too great, and getting caught out is devastating. So they need to be able to see far ahead of a catch range, and that's what the scrying orb gives them.
And with a couple of them, it's pretty usable to be able to keep watching Baron during some of those important points. Problem is, pink ward's going to spot any ward that Coast puts down in the Baron pit, so Robert can easily keep clearing them away. Oracle's lens for Bubbadub lets him sweep wards in the jungle on top of this one.
Upgraded sweeping lens. Yep. And they're trying to get Zion a little bit more farm, but this actually just endangers this turret. I think it's going down.
Taking a whole bunch of damage. Caitlyn and Ziggs doing a bunch. Brokenshard does get binded, but you know, doesn't really care. Takes a shield. He's going to be fine with this one. Yeah, 3 automated carries. Good turret killers.
Yeah. 3.5 items, you would say. And specifically Caitlyn.
Yeah.
317 CS in 32 minutes. ROBERTxLEE doing his work this game, staying safe and farming. It's been a very low kill game because Complexity had control from the very start. And they're actually doing an over-the-wall Baron. Don't want to get too low on this one because they still want a chance of turning a fight.
It gets revealed, and there is a ward that doesn't get spotted. This little lower one down here.
Around the bend. Saw them doing that one. And the inhibitor's back up. Does Coast try and go? It would be foolish. They're really just scaring Complexity off.
Wizard gets a shield. He looks towards Shifter. Cleaver does not land. And the team backs off. That pink ward top lane's still there, by the way, so they can keep track of minions or anyone's pushing down, but not sure it matters too much. I just thought it was interesting that it was still there. Complexity Black tried again.
Nice ward around the bend that the pink ward does not spot. It obviously can't line of sight around edges. But it doesn't give him vision inside the Baron pit. There it is.
And Brokenshard is low, but there's a lot of CC going to push Nintendude away, and there's the smite.
Nice move right there. Staying damage on the Baron, knowing that Nintendude was getting pushed off by damage, basically. And they secure themselves the Baron. It's a mistake a lot of teams make, actually, is if the enemy jungler approaches and someone is off hitting them, the people hitting the Baron actually stop damaging the Baron, where that's actually the time you do hit the Baron because the other jungler is distracted because of the damage he's taking.
Yeah, you really just time how long will it take him to get here, and then as long as you kill it before he can, then you're good, right? Satchel Charge knocks him back, Karma Slow is there, and it's like, yeah, we've bought you those 4 seconds you need to finish it. Good communication, know that, and of course, well handled by Complexity Black overall. No globals that Coast had to steal anyway. So the nice slow and controlled game here, 11,500 gold now. Bottom and Hib, of course, has respawned in the last siege, but that's okay for these guys. Dragons in a minute, though I think they could just siege a turret at this point.
Yeah, I think they're going to go back for their inhibitor that they exposed earlier. Clean it out again. If they get a team fight, great, but they don't need it. They're going to continue the slow siege. Ziggs is powering up. Caitlyn is powering up. They are significantly ahead of the curve in atomization on every roll. And they have every right to just take this one slow.
Now let's see what we can find. Damage coming through. And of course there is no turret blocking this inhib. The damage on the ROBERTxLEE doesn't matter too much. Brokenshard jumps in to save it. And the Baron regen plus lifesteal should keep the Caitlyn pretty safe. Mikhail's also there for Bubbadub. Zion wants to flank, but a pink ward's gonna watch him on this one. complexity Black should play this one right. Probably still poking him away. Robert's the offensive wave clear, probably is the zoning tool.
Stopping the flank attack. Brokenshard tanking the bindings. Look at all the shields from Karma right there. There's an initiation.
Flash Cocoon! Onto Robert, gets Mikhail, gets away. The nice knockup comes in there. And here is the battle. Zion in the back lines can't find enough though. Now Westrice pulling attention. The snipe comes into Daydreamin. And it's a 1-for-0. Complexity Black now still on the push. And of course they're healing up with the Baron buff. Inhibitor's going to go down.
The peel back from Robert. Despite getting flash cocooned, it was a try by Coast to make something happen. And are they really going to continue pushing that? They get about half it down before the fight breaks out.
A bunch of damage goes through WizFujiiN. Very low. Q hits him and Prawley takes it with the bouncing bomb. That's Nexus turret number 1 down. 15 seconds of 5 versus 3. Nintendude is low and Westrice has turret aggro. Prawley keeps alive with shield. Shiptur has no mana.
Look at the tank by Westrice. They're being so aggressive about pulling this off right now. The next creep waves comes. I mean, slow and steady wins the race, but fast does sometimes too.
Morgana's coming in with this one. It's going to be a 4v5 again. But the big shield comes out from Karma, keeping the team safe. Brokenshard now under fire as well, but Coast constantly pushed back. Shiptur has enough mana to push the team away. The Glitter Lance claims the kill on the Prawley.
Stuck around a little bit too long. They got very aggressive because they took so much. They saw the 2-0 in their sights. They knew they could go up 2-0 on the series and be 1 win away from the LCS. They got a little bit greedy. They can go back, take the dragon. They only lost 1. Everything should be okay. And that's kind of what we said last game.
Well, sure. This time around, though, I'm not sure what tool Coast has, though, to make this one happen. Brokenshard left alone in the dragon pit. You know what? It's fine. Practices the posture, jumps over, and Robert gets a red buff.
Yeah, Infinity Edge will be completed for Robert as soon as he shops, making him even more powerful. WizFujiiN has 2 items, not even a last whisper. 80 carry power is just so disparaging. At this point, even ZionSpartan, just a rand wins. He can dive onto ROBERTxLEE and then get killed 1v1.
Yeah.
The 80 carry.
It's never a spot you want to be as a bruiser. But getting that far down in the item game, well, I guess, yeah, he's 2 completed items down. He's at 2.5 and he's against 4.5.
So Complexity Black. I'm going to say they go 2-0 up in this series. Got to start looking towards game 3.
Yeah, that's got to be where Coast minds are. Exactly.
The pick and ban, they're just holding this game out as long as they can to try and figure out. At this point, Coast actually gets to respond to what Complexity Black has really done. The top lane has been good for them, for the most part.
Yeah.
Right? Westrice makes a few mistakes, Zion plays a little bit smarter, but the mid lane has been a disaster. They should go away from this Lulu pick. It's not Shifter's style. Yes, he can play. Yes, it's a powerful pick. But they're taking away their greatest weapon. And then also, I think, as you said earlier, they're losing the bottom lane so heavily in these games. They need to initiate a lane swap in game 3 to come back and take a game off of Complexity Black in this series, because this game has just been all Complexity Black all the time in every role. Except the top lane.
Yep. Well, they're going to look for this one in the top lane. Incidentally enough, and here they go. Top turret down to half HP. Minions cleared away, but that doesn't matter, ROBERTxLEE. Puts a Q across. Horses will wait for the regen, though. Nope, takes it up, and they're just going to go for it. Turret's going to go down. Stun lands on a Brokenshard. They don't care. 5v5. Inhibitor turret is down. ROBERTxLEE, big burst of damage. Stays alive, though. Knocked up by Lulu. Is that enough, though? Zion in the back. The Morgana ulti does help them claim 1, but it's answered back by Prawley. There's minions taking down the Nexus. Another Coast member falls down. 4v3 plus minions about to close the game. Top inhibitor's going to fall. And now the 40-minute push in. Minions there. Nexus turret number 2 going to go down. The fight attempt. Daydreamin flanking around, doesn't find the way in. Nintendude dodging the cleaver. Shifter can't do anything, taken out by ROBERTxLEE. And now the Nexus makes it 2-0. Complexity Black. There we go, one more. That's the shout from Brokenshard.
And things are going their way right now. They were the first picked challenger team by Coast.
Yeah.
Coast said they did not want to face Cloud9 Tempest. They definitely did not want to face LMQ. They wanted to face as much as you could want to face a team for relegation.
Sure.
LCS. They picked Complexity Black. And now Complexity Black is up 2-0 in this one. They got 3-0 against Evil Geniuses in the first promotion tournament. They stuck with it. They spent a split in the Coke Zero Challenger League, and now 1 win away from the LCS for those guys.
One Nexus separates them. They've done it on blue side, they've done it on red side. They've changed strategies, that's worked out as well. The guys who won their matchups consistently continued to do that.
Yeah.
The smites were good overall.
Prolly's played great. Brokenshard really stepped up.
Yes, he did.
This game. His Lee Sin was out of control. And ROBERTxLEE and Bubbadub just destroyed their bottom lane, 2v2. That's really all you can say. Full domination.
Absolutely full domination. So now you got to say, okay, Complexity Black, do they even run a new comp? Do they just play like, all right, look for standard and just play Siege? Like, Siege seems like the low-risk team comp, right? It's like show up as 4 dudes or 5 dudes, just hit the Nexus until it dies.
I think they continue to play the lane is the biggest thing. Lane more than anything else. If they can control the laning phase of Coast, which a few challenger teams were able to do previously, they win. If Prolly beats Shifter, I don't think Coast has a play.
All right. Well, we'll see if Prolly can keep it up for the 3rd game in a row then. We're going to send it over to Kobe, Lincoln, Aframu at the analyst desk to break down the action.
All right, thank you, Freak. Momentum definitely in Complexity's favor after that one. Speaking of the mid lane there, what do you think? Are they do they have to deny them Ziggs or something? Is Prolly just going to keep handling Shifter?
You want to go? Or?
Sure.
Can you fix that with bans, or is that a mental thing that's going on?
I think it's a mental thing. I'm watching Coast faces right now, and they're not really talking at all, even like throughout the whole game. Not, like barely any movement in their mouths. So I think they're really on a downward spiral right now, and they haven't come out of that slump yet. And if they want to stay in LCS, they have to pick it back up.
Maybe they need to fix it with Lee Sin, because Lee Sin was a big story in the early game. It was a big story in this game. Brokenshard, you guys talking about last game, you thought he was a better jungler. This game, it showed pretty clearly.
Yeah, I think he pretty much out-jungled Nintendo really hard. He killed him at like level 3 or so.
Actually, let's bring up the replay of that. You can talk about this, because we do have a Brokenshard kill at red buff.
This was pretty much a really big swinging point because it negates all of Elise's pressure. Just because like a lot of LCS players don't really do this, at least jungler-wise, because this is sort of like a cheese. But they had it warded, and Lee Sin exactly knew where Elise started, and he got there just a little bit ahead, and he managed just to find him, and he'll pretty much just kill him because Lee Sin level 2 is way stronger than Elise level 2. It was kind of dumb of Nintendo to kind of face check. He should have like W'd first to get the vision, but I think he used it on Wraiths maybe. Maybe it was
and like you said, not a lot of LCS players do that because it's more of like a solo queue strategy, going red to red invades. And with all these new level 1s that are happening, he definitely did not expect that one.
Yeah, for
but
sure.
that was not the first objective that he took away from Nintendo. We also have another clip of a Dragon Steal. We'll get to that one later, I guess. Do you think that Lee Sin is a big enough deal that they either need to ban it or pick it away?
I'm not too sure. I really do think it's more of a mental thing. It's not like a pick. You know, it's not because they have like Lee Sin or anything like that. They just need to play better and just kind of step up their game. But that's really hard to do, especially when you're 0-2. So it's going to be really hard for Coast to pick up their slack and just come back and stay strong. Because from what I've seen like Zion and Shifter do like pretty well in their lanes, but and that's kind of expected of them. But it's kind of up to the bottom lane and the jungle to kind of synergize with their solo laners, and so that they can work and coordinate as a team. Because right now, Complexity Black is doing pretty well in terms of map movements, and they're grouping up and taking objectives.
Yeah, if there was a weakness for Complexity Black, it might be the top lane there. If you are Complexity Black and you're looking to secure your third win, guarantee your way into the LCS. Are there any changes you would make, maybe coaching Westrice on his picks, on his early play?
I would just have Complexity Black play as safe as they can and just take it methodically. Coast isn't really responding to their pressure, and they're just buckling up and letting Complexity Black run them over. And Complexity Black just have the momentum right now, so they can just take the series 3-0.
Yeah, let's take a look at that Dragon Steel, because this is a play, not playing safe, but this is how Complexity Black are just rolling over them. They are literally taking away every objective, just stealing it right out from under their nose.
Yeah, this is Coast's fault because they don't have vision of Dragon fully, so this can happen right now. And Brokenshard just goes in, steals Dragon for free, W's to the ward and flashes out. So that was basically Coast's crappy vision control. Vision control.
At the same time, it's like it just shows like how confident and how much more willing they're, willing to make the play. And you can see Complexity Black, they're all yelling, and they're all high in confidence. So it's kind of it's really different compared to like earlier's Cloud9 Tempest, where they're not willing to be aggressive and rather they were more passive. But we see Complexity Black right now, they're making plays and they're being aggressive.
All right, so our final question, of course, we're going to have the final predictions. Do you think it will be a 3-0, or are we going to go to more games here?
I think it's going to be a 3-0 for Complexity Black. It's kind of against what I've seen, or what I've said. But from what I'm seeing right now, it just seems like, Coast isn't doing too hot.
The mental barrier's just too much to overcome?
Yeah.
Afro, what do you think?
I want Coast to stay in, but
I know
they're just not.
Vote with your
right
brain, not your heart.
They're not performing right now, so I'm gonna go with Complexity Black 3-0.
Okay, well there you have it, you guys. That's all that we have for now. But when we return, we will see if Complexity can close out the series in our third game between Team Coast and Complexity Black. Don't go anywhere.
Flash Cocoon onto Robert, gets the kills, gets away, the nice knockup comes in there, and here is the battle. Zion in the back lines, can't find enough though. Now Westrice pulling attention, the snipe comes into Daydreamin, and it's a 1-for-0. Complexity Black now still on the push, and of course they're healing up with the Baron buff. Inhibitor's going to go down.
The peel back from Robert. Despite getting Flash Cocooned, it was a try by Coast to make something happen. And are they really going to continue pushing that? They get about half it down before the fight breaks out.
Bunch of damage goes through WizFujiiN, very low. Q hits him, and Prawley takes it with the bouncing bomb.
One more game, guys.
Nice.
Bump it, nigga.